Dawn and I walked hand in hand, squished together in the tiny hallway towards the tiny room. We were silent, save for the increasingly heavy breathing and Dawn's enthusiastic nuzzling against my shoulder. It was a difficult balance, following Dawn's footsteps towards her room, while simultaneously holding her like this. Before I'd even realized, Dawn stopped us at the doorway and popped her key in, pushing the door open. Dawn ushered me inside like before, both of us having to duck to avoid bumping our heads. We shuffled around the cabin, pulling our shoes off and fidgeting with our clothes for a bit before Dawn sat down on her bed and beckoned me over to next to her. I happily snuggled up against her, hugging her waist and dragging her down to lie on the bed so I could kiss her. I guess I didn't expect it to take too long for us to devolve back into this, but boy, that was quick. Dawn pulled her legs up onto the bed, lying flat against it with me on top of her. After a few seconds more of kissing, I heard her mumble something, so I pulled myself back a bit to listen. So, pretty good day. I'll say. Now you see why I like contests so much. There were other ways I could tell, but yeah, this was fun. Especially since we won. That's pretty exciting. Yes, sir. It might not be official, but I'm adding this ribbon to my collection for sure. And you get to start a collection. That's pretty cool, huh? So, what are we doing tomorrow? No more contests to prepare for anymore. Well, we could fully embrace the laziness of the cruise. Oh, you. How'd I know you'd suggest that? Sleepy now. Yep. Pokemon training is tough work. You got that right. I stared into Dawn's eyes, lazily preening the hair from her face. I don't want to go to sleep yet, though. We got so much kissing to catch up on. Better idea. Obviously, it was not hard for Dawn to look sexy. That's like her default state, but when she actually tries to be... Piplup! Sorry, Piplup. Would it be okay if we, Piplup let out an exasperated sigh, waddling over to Dawn's bag and leaning half his body into it, tossing various items aside before finding his Pokeball. You're so beautiful. I interrupted my own sentence, sticking my tongue into her mouth and drawing an elated giggle from Dawn as we settled into each other. The subtle vibrations of her mouth and lips felt good against mine. I breathed against her face, feeling her draw in my scents through her nose and mouth. Her eyes twinkled up at me before they drooped shut, running her tongue against mine as we sapped each other's energy together. I laid between her arched legs, rubbing as much of my body against hers as I could. The warmth of her soft skin on mine was a dizzying experience. We shared our heat, our mouths locked together in what could charitably be called a kiss, but was more accurately just slobbering over each other. Whatever manual dexterity I have is quickly lost in her arms, running my tongue up and down her lips as we shared each other's saliva. And there's a lot of it at this point. A mixture of our fluids ran down our faces, but it certainly wasn't worth interrupting our kissing to acknowledge. Dawn's arms pulled me down against her, forcefully holding me in place, as if I'd ever want to move. Her little breaths and moans nicely filled the relative silence of the room, punctuating the sounds of our embrace and the squeaky mattress we shared. It was a good several minutes before we had to pause and inhale. We pulled an inch or so apart, breathing deeply as we struggled to compose ourselves. I watched Dawn rest her head against her pillow, staring up at the ceiling with a rather stunned look on her face. Dawn's chin dripped with her saliva, effortlessly drawing me back into her. Oh, Far, I just love you so much. I love you too, Dawn. I don't know how long we kissed before falling asleep in each other's arms. My mouth was already getting numb. I think I'm gonna need a lot of food after yesterday. Dawn yawned at me with a cafeteria tray in her hand. Looking up and down, there was a fine breakfast cuisine available. What do I even want? I'm too tired to think about this. I barely paid attention to my own movements as I ladled some unidentified substances into a bowl and put into my red plastic tray, sliding along the buffet beside Dawn. Oh, by the way, I decided I'm spending my winnings on breakfast for you, for my best battle partner of all time. Of this cruise. Of all time. Take it or leave it. I smiled and gently bumped into her with my shoulder as I cashiered tallied up our platters. Dawn smirked at the food I'd picked up for some reason. Pretty healthy selection. I looked down to see a slice of pie and 2 donuts on my tray. Whatever, I need some sugar energy right now anyway. Maybe I was distracted by how cute you are. I guess that's partly true. Dawn leaned up against me as we walked to the table up against one of the large windows that overlooked the rest of the ship. Even the slight motion below us combined with the moving scenery outside was making me a little dizzy, but I assumed that was more because of personal overexertion. I put all my weight into the seat I slumped down into whilst considering putting my head against the table for a brief nap. I just can't wait to sleep in an actual bed. Even a sleeping bag. Anything's better than this. I'm asking my mom for a first-class ticket next time. This must be even worse for you, huh, tall boy? Do you have to bend your knees to sleep with me in that bed? It's worth it. Well, when we get to Cynthia's villa, I bet she'll have a huge mega bed. We'll get a lot of kettle practice there. I couldn't hold back a childish smile at that. I'm excited. I guess I'll take this invitation then. Of course, you're my new travel partner after all. Cynthia will just have to be okay with it. Not that I doubted it. It'd be a deal breaker if I was with her. But it's still sweet of her to put her Cynthia visit on the line for me like this. Oh my gosh. I get to be excited for the contest coming up, and now I get to be excited that we're in Unova tomorrow. And about my new boyfriend, of course. She leaned against my shoulder with a giggle. I put my pie down in order to hug her tightly for a moment. Did you happen to think about stuff to do today? It's our last day, so we've got to make it count. I tried to look contemplative as I chewed a bit of pie, watching Dawn as she stared expectantly back at me. It gave me some time to consider my options. I know I'd like to take her out to dinner tonight. There's a few nicest places we passed that have caught her eye, so that'd be a nice surprise. Hilda suggested a pretty expensive one. With the contest winnings, I could probably treat Dawn to it. I'll have to see where I can take her with 5,750 yen in the bank. Until then, though... What do I do? What do I do? Maybe we can hang out with the girls? I was actually thinking maybe we could try to find those girls from yesterday. They seem to know a lot about Unova and Pokemon.
If I didn't know any better, I'd get a little jealous at that suggestion. Am I not enough cute girl by myself for you, mister?
That's a borderline nonsensical statement.
Good. That's what I thought.
Dawn kissed my forehead, half covered by my hat and hair. Still chewing, I stood up and moved to offer her my hand, but she'd already stood herself. Dawn leaned against me, cupping my hand in hers, and looking up at me from my chest. What, Piplup? What do you want?
Shush you.
Piplup scrambled up Dawn's side of the usual perch, pointing a determined flipper onwards.
Piplup!
Dawn and I stepped into the awful bright sunlight of the day, looking left and right on the deck before looking back at each other. I don't suppose you know how to find two random people on a giant cruise ship.
What, didn't you get their phone numbers, Mr. Charming?
Please, you're the only girl for me. Dawn's smug pose immediately folded to my comment. She grabbed my hand and leaned into my side, forcing me to support her weight as we continued walking along. It only took a few seconds to see the arena from yesterday, a point of the ship as central as the pools on either side. There were a few impromptu looking battles going on, obviously little more than basic sparring sessions. I certainly recalled that Dawn did not have the courtesy of a mock battle when we first started out. Though there is something to be said about being thrown into the deep end, I suppose. Evidently, it worked out. Given our contest performance, Dawn's brilliance is as boundless as her cuteness. Dawn peered over the railing, squinting her eyes against the oncoming sunlight to try and make out the facial features of whoever she could. Though I don't doubt that she's paying more attention to the Pokemon.
Hey, contest boy!
That's my name. Rosa, right?
Crap, I was kinda hoping you had forgot my name too.
You know, I'm usually the one that does, so I understand. It's far.
Right, I remember, just messing. You're wondering if we'd see you two here again.
That's fortunate. We were actually going to try and find you, so thanks for making that easy.
Told you we were great Unova ambassadors. Tourist Ambassador Rosa, I like the sound of that.
In your dreams.
That's fine, I like sleeping.
So, what you guys want from us? Did you want to kick our asses again? I glanced at Dawn, who kicked my leg, presumably to remind me non-verbally that this was my idea, throwing the shy guy under the bus a little bit here. Well, we're both getting to a new region tomorrow. I kinda hoped you two would have some more pointers for us, or something. I was prepared to say more, but fortunately Rosa quickly spoke up.
Oh, for sure, we've been all over. I think we could give you some travel tips. Any specific questions? How about anything contest related?
Thank you, Dawn.
Right. Well, there's this place. It's, southwest? Hold on, come with me for a sec. Where are you?
Rosa scurried out down the deck without waiting for our or Hilda's confirmation. We followed her into a nearby section of the ship and up to some kind of gift shop.
Brochures, motherfucker!
Rosa picked up several pamphlets off a rack, advertising the various sites of Unova. I heard Dawn giggle a bit at Rosa's colorful language.
Alright, check this out. Visit sunny Himalaya City, land of calm and sparkling seas. Are you serious? You want their first experience of Unova to be spending $15 on a bottle of water? Oh, come on, there's a lot of cool stuff in Himalaya. I heard it was a potential spot for the next Wallace Cup. That's a contesting thing.
You want that one too, right?
Maybe. Man, you are the real deal, huh? That's me. See, Himalaya's great. Plus it's got Marlin, and he is hella cute. Oh, so that's what this is about. Alright, you suck at this. Come on.
Hilda took the pamphlets out of Rosa's hands, stepping over to a nearby seating area. We slumped down into extravagant chairs, sitting around a small central table on which Hilda folded out a map of Unova. Rosa ignored Hilda's disparagement, immediately continuing her spiel by pointing down to the map.
There's Himalaya City right there.
She pointed the hole right through the map for extra visibility.
Oops. So, where's Driftveil City? That's where we're going, right?
Hilda pointed the city along one of the larger rivers, though my eyes were fixated on the gigantic city in the center of the map, which seemed to take up a good portion of the whole thing. Driftveil looks to be farther inland than I expected. So we're going that far inland. What are these places?
Well, that's Castellaria City there. That's a big one.
Dawn and I both nodded. I assumed she'd heard that one before too.
Burbank's right here. You'll pass through that if you go to Star Studios, baby! Yeah, they make a movie every 5 minutes there. So if you want to be in some schlock, that's where to go. Hey, I've been some of those, and this route they're all great. Love and Battles 3 made like a gazillion bugs and has a smear gold in the bow tie. Now that I gotta see. Oh, Antonio, you're my one and only. Ugh. Jealous. Tell you what, you can hang out in Burbank with your loud screaming music and I'll continue being a movie star.
Fine by me. Loud screaming music, you say?
Oh, finally someone with good taste. Yeah, the Burbank gym doubles as a music club. You ever heard of Coughing in the Toxics? Roxy?
No, sorry. I'm an uncultured foreigner.
Sounds like you got your first heading. I'd check with your girl before you take her to a punk concert, though. I'm not sure if that's really her scene.
Yeah, I don't really know what music she likes yet, but I doubt we have similar tastes, sadly.
Yeah, Royce is always making me listen to this awful bubblegum pop dance garbage. We usually have a headphones-only rule when we're on the road.
So any recommendations for something Dawn might like?
Well, I'm not exactly the romantic type, but you could take a look at Nimbasa City. It's like a cultural center, so there's lots of stuff to do. Oh hey, actually, here's a cool idea. Check out Sky Era Bridge. The east side has a great view of Castelia City. That's kind of romantic, right? Maybe cross that out for your first time heading into the city or something.
Sure, sounds good to me. Bridges are the most romantic of construction.
They're called the Marshmallow Princesses. Held in a loud scene listening to them on the road. Cool, we'll check him out. How's that sound, Biplop? Biplop. Oh, come on, you. Don't judge a book by its cover. Honestly, you probably can. In this case, they sound like exactly what you'd expect. Well, still. Besides, your journey's better than the destination kind of pair after all. More than half the fun of going somewhere is getting there in the first place, right? At least that's how it was for me in Sinnoh. Not that I expect it to be too different from that.
I figure we would have heard by now it was dangerous to be a traveler, or something.
Even if it was, you got a super cool dwarven to protect you, right? Yes, I do.
That caught us both off guard. I felt a sudden wide smile from as Dawn reached over from her seat to squeeze my hand.
Right there! Hey, what's up, dude? Haven't taken you to Gym Street. That's where the Castelia Gym is. Burr is a bug-type specialist, so there's all sorts of bug-type stuff around there. I think you're gonna like his Lavini too. Oh, whatever. It's either. If you ever get homesick, check out Icarus City up north. Gets a ton of snow. Oh, I guess I'll try to be there during the winter.
I leaned back in my chair, comfortable from both it and the situation. Despite even Scyther being a better conversationalist than me, it's still nice just hanging out with people, sometimes. The people being cute girls is a plus. I try to keep my eye on the map of Unova so that I can locate places that the girls mentioned. Maybe that way I can press Dawn with my encyclopedic knowledge later on. Hilda and Rosa tell us that they're heading back to their hometowns once we arrive, to the southeast and southwest, respectively. I managed to find the city that Dawn mentioned Cynthia is taking her on the west coast, Umbrella Town or something. Oh, Undala. Close enough. My eyes are naturally drawn to two locations, Liberty Garden and Unity Tower, two tiny islands to the south. I've always liked the idea of living on an island, an opinion that earns me frequent weird looks. These two specifically seem to be pretty developed, but I'm always on the lookout for places far away from everything. I actually grew up hearing a lot about the Decolor Islands, an archipelago in between here and Kanto. I don't know if they just told us the kids, but they say there's old pirate treasure around there too, which sounds sweet. Dawn and I will one day retire to our own island, which we'll purchase with our combination contest winnings and pirate treasure fortune. And I will fund the world's largest arcade and laser tag arena to be built there.
Hey Hilda, we gotta get some food, huh? Oh dang, I didn't realize what time it was. Probably a good idea. Hey, did you guys want to come? We could find somewhere for the 6 of us. That sounds fun, but I was actually kind of hoping to do like a date-y thing with Far tonight. Aw, alright, you lovebirds. Before we lose you again, can we get your numbers and stuff? You guys on Pokebook?
The girls and I spent a few minutes exchanging phones until all the numbers were accounted for. I was a little embarrassed to hand over mine, given that I only have like 5 people on my contacts list. Finding a pizza place near my parents' house.
Alright, later y'all. Maybe we can meet up sometime after we're all settled in Unova. See ya, Scyther.
Scyther and Hilda somehow fist bumped each other in a way that didn't draw blood, which was impressive.
Sounds good to me. I'm sure directions will be needed again. Awesome! We'll see you guys again soon then.
I hope so too.
Have fun with stuff.
The 4 of us stood up, nodding and waving to each other before settling back into our pairs. The girls trotted off down some nearby stairs, outside there watching Hilda go as Dawn settled her weight in my general direction.
Now that I have Mr. Charming all to myself.
Me or him?
Both. But speaking of dinner, are you hungry?
Okay, this is it. Like we practiced 100 times in our head, invite her to dinner and do it all romantically. So, Don, it's been super awesome being on this trip with you, and I would like to treat you to dinner, if I might.
You might.
If I might? Are you serious, man? Don giggled at my stupid use of words, but nonetheless accepted the invitation, at least. I didn't exactly expect her to turn it down or anything, but I still can't breathe a sigh of relief. Dawn daintily held out her hand, awaiting me to take it with a huge smile plastered on her face. I nearly instantly grabbed her hand, perhaps too enthusiastically, but I couldn't help myself.
So, where are we headed?
Good question. I guess my wallet should decide that. Where are we going for dinner? Somewhere really nice. No expenses too great for my princess. Don't say that out loud. Well, there's a really nice place at the front of the ship that I think all the fancy people go to.
And you think you'll fit in?
Of course, just look at us.
Right. I meant no disrespect.
Awesome. Step 1 completed. Now for step 2. After a brief stroll and a briefer elevator ride, I led Dawn to the sweet restaurant I'd passed a few times before. The glassy windows along the walls give a view of a bunch of water types doing their thing. Dinner and a show, I guess.
Wow, this does look good. I hope we don't need rich people ID cards or anything.
Dawn and I found a booth to sit at, with Piplup scrambling down her side to the spot next to her as I sat across from Dawn.
Scyther. Piplup!
Whoa, hey now. Scyther gracefully flopped over the table to get next to me and sit across from Piplup. Dawn and I pressed our backs against our seats to avoid his arms, though I'm sure he was being careful. This is definitely not an ideal environment for Scyther. As our Pokemon chatted amongst each other, Dawn and I looked down at the menus in front of us. I actually can't read half of the items on this menu. No pictures either. Fancy life is tough. Are you supposed to order something big and share when you're with someone? Or would that be annoying? If my nerves make me eat the whole thing and then leave her hungry, it would be. Sharing a big thing with her does sound fun though. Might be cheaper too. Maybe I should just ask her.
So, what you thinking?
Do you want to share something?
Sounds good to me. Ayla?
I glanced down at the menu again, trying to identify the words she just said.
This one here.
She pointed out an item on the menu to me, gesturing with her hands to help me visualize the food.
It's like it's got rice and other stuff, probably oceany stuff, judging by the look of this place.
Okay, well, I trust you.
Good, let's get it.
The two of us set down our menus, idly glancing around to look for a waiter. This place isn't nice enough for Dawn. For starters, she had to walk to our table using human legs instead of having someone carry her. There was also no masseuse or nobody cooling her off with a palm frond. -2 more points.
You're adorable.
I rubbed my eyes as a waiter approached, placing a few glasses of water with straws onto our table. Dawn placing our order for us as I slid a cup over towards Piplup. Our companions chatted each other up at our side, both clearly not built for these seats. Cider can't bend his legs for one thing, so he looks like a propped up action figure or something. Piplup is, well, he could use booster seats. I'm sure he's too prideful for that though, which I can hardly blame him for. He looks transfixed at the aquarium all around us, a large school of,
Love disc.
right. A school of love disc passes us by as Piplup presses his face up against the glass. Dawn guessed exactly what I was thinking.
You know,
Dawn fiddled with her skirt below the table, producing her Pokédex and flicking it open. It lives in warm seas. It is said that a couple fighting this Pokemon will be blessed with eternal love. Dawn blushed at me, covering a widening smile with one hand and averting her gaze before looking back to me from across the table. I slid my hands across the surface to hold hers. She jumped in surprise as I ran my fingers along her soft skin, giggling and squeezing my hands in response. Piplup watched them swim by as he audibly slid his face along the glass wall, making a group of us chuckle at his expense. Okay, so we're at dinner together. Is this a time where we say words to each other? I know a few words. Like rheumatism and sycophantic. That's a good one. Those are big nerdy words though. We gotta think of cool words to say, like the cool guy she knows we are. Dynamicize. Yeah. Just gotta think of ways to insert that into conversation, and we're golden. Girls love linguistics. I guess so. I suppose so. Okay, sit up straight. Stop fiddling with your hair. Make sure you... Has she been talking the whole time? Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Blah 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 and yeah blah blah blah. So then, you awake yet?
Dawn stared at me with a grin as I took a deep breath, exhaling and glancing to the side to avoid her playful and judgmental gaze.
You're too adorable, Fire.
Her smile told me she wasn't upset at my daydreaming. Thank goodness. I guess I wouldn't have gone this far with her if she didn't at least know what she was getting into. I'm sorry, I just have a lot on my mind, I guess.
Like taking a pretty girl to dinner. Don't stress, okay? You're doing a good job. I'm having fun. It'd be hard to not have fun with you around after all.
Thank you for your pity.
No problem. I'm easy to please.
Sigh. She saved me from my awkward and nervous silence, and I brought us right back. Why am I so high-strung right now? This isn't our first time hanging out together, but I feel like my chest is tied in knots or something, which probably isn't healthy. I guess this feels a lot more official than any other time. Everything else we've done has led to some other pretext. We're just hanging out to talk about contest stuff. We're just sharing a room because it's convenient. Now we're having dinner together because it's nice spending time together. Does this count as our first date? I mean, we've done datey stuff before, but not that we're, a couple. Yeah.
Do you want it to count as our first date? Maybe we should wait to see if it goes horribly. And if it does, we don't count it. Maybe count the sunset or something.
Don't jinx it.
Like anything could go wrong in our first official date. With my first official boyfriend.
Alright, well, if I wasn't anxious before, I definitely am now. Dawn bit her lip, leaning forward and quickly taking my hand in hers. I guess she sensed some seriousness in my comment.
Far, I love being with you. You don't have to try so hard. Or at all.
I nodded. It's like she has to try anyway. Every second of her is fun. I should be happy she feels the same way about me. What?
What you thinking about?
Warning, girl has ass overthinking about danger, danger. Let's see. I guess you. What else? Dawn smirked at me, drumming her fingers on the table and waiting for more. You're beautiful, I love your eyes and your smile, and I trailed off, staring into her eyes. Her smiles faded, leaning across the table, closing her eyes and pressing her lips together. It lasted a few seconds. We opened our eyes a crack, looking at each other mid-kiss. We both knew we should split apart. We're in a restaurant. Our eyes closed again. I took in her scent, her breath. She opened her mouth, exhaling into mine. We were both simultaneously poked by our respective Pokemon. Philip's laughter inside his eye rolling helped snap us out of our trance.
Sorry guys, as far as a romantic, you know how it is. Anyway, to try and take our minds off of that, wanna talk plans for tomorrow?
Sure, what you have in mind?
Cynthia was gonna meet me once I got into Driftveil City. Let's find out what she plans to do with me then. Gosh, new region, new adventures, my heart's pounding.
You know, in my head, I was thinking this would be the time when I asked to come along with you, but I guess we already took care of that.
Wanna ask me again?
Dawn leaned forward, holding her cheeks with both hands. I guess after all the thought I put into this, I might as well. Well, Dawn, I'm crazy about you, and the thought of splitting up after you get off the ship makes me very sad. Can I be your travel buddy?
You certainly can. I'm also very crushy on you, and I want to hold hands and kiss and go places together. Wanna be my boyfriend too?
I'd love to be.
Good. We'll be travel partners and smooching partners. Glad we decided this.
Yes. Dawn and I giggled at each other, our smiles seemingly permanently affixed to our faces. We held hands across the table, sighing in unison. I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, thank God our food is here. I was worried I'd embarrass myself to death. Our waiter returned with our food, Sitting down a tray with several plates and then silverware in front of us, while we did the traditional scrambling to move our napkins and glasses to make room. Oh, that does look expensive. I mean, good. Good choice, Don.
Thank you, Don. Well, don't wait for me to start, cause I wouldn't wait for you.
Munch. I suspiciously eyed the strange, expensive concoction in front of me. Rich people food is usually made from baby seal or something, right?
Pretty good. What you think, Pip-Lop? Pip-Lop-Lop. He's the ultimate authority, you see.
Right. Well, that's pretty good. Can't tell if knowing how much money spent on it is making it taste better or worse. Probably best not to think about it.
So, what you thinking about now?
Thank goodness she's here to keep me talking. Talk about what? The future. We talk about the future. What you gonna do in the future? And I think I'll stop here for today. But if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment what you think so far. And if you want to try this out for yourself, I'll put the link for it in the description. Somewhere, I think. I forgot. Anyways, and if you want to watch more of this visual novel, please take a look at the playlist down below. Thank you, and take care.